Hello guys, so today we're gonna be reacting to What is Sonic Dark Gaia Infection AU by Ty Records LL.
Sonic
Let's get into
Infested
it.
video, Mickey Mouse AVI, and other thousands of years and centuries reawoken by Eggman between Light and Dark Gaia. Not only did Eggman wake up Dark Gaia out of his slumber to fulfill his plans of world domination, but Sonic and Light Gaia had to band together to seal Gaia until he awakens thousands and thousands of years later once again in the future. But in this alternate universe, Eggman unfortunately, regrettably awoken Dark Gaia again, this time by accident, causing chains of events that might be disturbing. We start off with Eggman's memos, with him talking about what's going on with Dark Gaia. As you can see, once again, the Earth shattered with Dark Gaia's beasts infesting the Earth, but this time amongst them are demon-like animals that are spreading infections using contaminated Dark Gaia energy within their body. In Eggman's classified files, we're shown what they look like and also the different levels and abilities of the nightmares, which is what they're called. As you can see, there's the regular nightmare, then deep, and most dangerously, infected. Unlike the other nightmares, the infected doesn't only show its face during the night. The infected nightmares roam during the day and infect anything they scratch or any flesh they pierce due to Dark Gaia's malice. Luckily, some are immune to this, like Shadow the Hedgehog because of his immortality, Silver the Hedgehog because of his genes and him being from the future. It could also be due to the nature on how his psychokinesis powers work as well, because during the Metal Virus event, he was kinda untouchable due to how his powers work. Then there's Chip, also known as Light Gaia, who's not only immune to, but fortunately can cure those who are infected, but unfortunately can only do it within the first 48 hours post-infection. Luckily, Tails survives because of this. But remember, Chip is only one person and the whole world is being infected. Imagine there was only one doctor on Earth. A lot of people are biting the dust. And so we're shown the different stages of what happens once a person's infected, with the first stage being Dark Gaia's energy leaking and seeping from your wounds, and you're now contagious. In the second stage, you start to rapidly bald, looking similar to a sheared sheep in a sphinx cat. Any quills, feathers, fur, skin, or etc. start shedding, increasing the victim's agony. By the third, it starts to feel unbearable. This is when you become very agitated. Your bones start breaking and crumbling down, and the skin develops spots as if something is scratching, trying to break out underneath. In the fourth stage, the most painful experience takes place. All sanity is lost by this point, making the victim more feral and more monster-like. Their screams of pain are loud and unpleasant. In the end, by stage 5, not only is the victim fully under Dark Gaia's control, but the mutation is 100% finished, making the victim as dangerous as any infected nightmare, including making them likely to attack during the day as well. During the first week after Dark Gaia's emergence, the character statuses were also recorded. Looking at Sonic's stats, he luckily isn't infected or injured, but unfortunately is starving, somewhat thirsty, and very stressed. Other than that, he's pretty healthy and has a decent amount of sanity left. But it seems like he's kinda in a lot of distress after witnessing Tails losing his life slowly, with him saying, "Aw, buddy, I'm so sorry," clearly referring to Tails, who's not doing so well. His health and strength is very low, and he isn't infected, but he's exhausted and severely injured. It's interesting Tails says, "We need Eggman," which shows how dire the situation is, since Tails has voiced his opinions and frustration towards Eggman in the past. Next, unfortunately, Knuckles and Rouge are missing, which I'll explain why in a moment. But on to Silver, he's clearly been in non-stop battle, which is nothing new if you know Silver's character. His thirst, stress, hunger, and health are extremely low, and he's injured, but his strength and sanity is doing great, and he's again immune to the infection. I'm not surprised that he's more active in this situation to even someone like Sonic, since this is nothing new compared to what he's dealt with in his future. Now sadly, Amy's deceased, already in week 1, with her body being missing. She seems to have sacrificed herself, with her last words being, "It's gonna be okay." Turns out she was protecting Cream, who, trigger warning, watched her get eaten alive in broad daylight while hiding. Big the Cat is completely unscathed and looking for Froggy once again. He's looking for Froggy all the time, which is a running gag with Big the Cat's character. This is why you see him in the background in like every level of some Sonic games. He's looking for Froggy. Unfortunately, SBO is doing the worst out of everyone, having to get his leg amputated to prevent the infection from spreading throughout his body. Vector was also infected, but unlike SBO, he can't get this part of his body amputated.
I think it's I think
For obvious reasons. And sadly, by this
it's
time
because
is in stage 1 of his
it's his
infection,
mouth,
so
it's his
like
nose,
Gaia,
so
can't
he
reverse
can't
his
cut it off.
disease. Shadow is somewhat doing horrible, as his hunger and thirst are at its lowest, which could possibly lead you to the conclusion that Shadow may have been nerfed. He's dealing with very powerful Dark Gaia minions. It's possible Shadow is being overwhelmed with protecting others, and of course, seeing what happened to Earth, the thought of not keeping Maria's promise might be leaving him with no choice but to take off his inhibitors and end the apocalypse as soon as possible. Surprisingly, this takes place sometime after Sonic Forces, and Infinite is not only injured, but is on infection stage 2. Blaze, on the other hand, is injured, and also unsurprisingly doing great. Seems like she's taking good care of herself and is the most level-headed because she's stress-free and has 100% sanity. Cream's stats are also recorded, with her doing great. Besides that, she does have a small head injury. She's clearly unaware to what's going on around the world and very scared and traumatized, but is in a safe place because Shadow found her. Like I mentioned before, Omega unfortunately is deceased as well. His firepower would have been very useful, but since the world is in pieces and he fell into the chasm of the depths before Shadow could save him, they'll just have to do without him. Chip is in the best condition, but is super low on strength. It's possible, like I said before, he's being overwhelmed with curing those infected. Eggman is doing amazing, and it seems whatever scheme he had planned or whatever he was trying to dig up this time ended up backfiring, causing Dark Gaia to awaken on accident. On to Tails' memos, it's been 13 days and over a week has passed since anybody has seen Knuckles and Rouge, with the last one seeing them being Shadow, who suspected them of going to find the Master Emerald. It's safe to assume that they were trying to find the Master Emerald to turn the Chaos Emeralds back on, since it has the power to turn them off. And as of right now, the Chaos Emeralds are powerless. It's also worth noting that the Master Emerald was cracked into pieces due to some unknown reason, so Angel Island has crashed down to Earth. Here, Tails concludes what happens during Amy's sacrifice and why she was eaten alive. It turns out infected nightmares have low energy during the day because of the sun and have to replenish that energy, so they sadly ate her. 45 days passed since Gaia's emergence from the Earth's core, and now we're given Shadow's memos, where he talks about his perspective. Shadow's advised by Eggman that he's finally found Rouge. Shadow also talks about how everyone's been told to cut their hair because of the nightmare creatures and how dangerous their reach and grab can travel, reaching over a 35-yard radius. For a visual example, this is how far they could stretch their limbs, across a football field. What makes this even more terrifying is what they're able to do with their strength and stretching capability, being able to catapult and grab people, similar to what Werehog Sonic had demonstrated back during the events of Sonic Unleashed. Shadow then reminisces on the moment Omega died, revealing that he was actually dragged down by a nightmare. He then goes on and talks about how the monsters are on par with him even with his inhibitors off, showing how strong Dark Gaia has gotten with over a week of being awoken. Sonic Unleashed Dark Gaia was weaker due to Eggman waking it up early, and also they were able to deal with it faster because there was no infection. Fortunately, Shadow does realize their weakness is hitting them in between their eyes, as their bodies are super durable. Shadow's DNA of course makes him immune to the infection, and on his way to Rouge he seemingly was relieved, until sadly he finds out after opening the door that Rouge unfortunately succumbed to the virus, fully becoming mutated and under Dark Gaia's full control. This sight of her is utterly horrifying, to say the least. Even in the 6-week files, you can see both Knuckles and her horrifyingly are looking disgusting, labeled as extremely dangerous. Talking about the characters more, Sonic by week 6 is completely stressed out, especially because he lost Amy, Knuckles, and a lot of his other close friends by this time. He's so stressed that Tails isn't even allowed to step foot outside, and it's probably because if Sonic loses him, he'd lose his last bit of sanity and go out of control in response. Metal Sonic is around, but seems to be a missionary turret and immobile for unknown reasons, and is sadly attached to the roof of Eggman's base for protection, and seems to be powered by solar panels, but maybe that could be just surveillance. Jet the Hawk has been rescuing survivors using his ancient board, and his injuries are from sliding across the road. It's possible he fell off his board when saving people due to the weight limit, or a monster grabbed it and their long arms caused him to fall off. But most importantly, there's some hope, and it looks like they seem to have found a piece of the Master Emerald. This is great because if they find all the shards, they can rebuild the Master Emerald and bring new hope to stopping this. SBO has gotten way better since week 1. He's even gotten a new leg, but he on the other hand secretly isn't on the same page as the others. He's looking for the infected monster that attacked him and Vector, infecting them both. Shadow yet again is shown sad, and is still grieving the loss of both of his friends now, and is even questioning himself on whether or not this is the life Maria wanted for him. He also has his inhibitor rings back on and is using guns possibly to more accurately shoot the nightmares in their eyes, since he said before their skin is impenetrable by bullets, but again their weakness are their eyes. Vanilla, Krim's mother, seems to be taking care of everyone, making them meals and keeping them in high spirits. She is injured because she was almost eaten, but Sonic saved her and they stopped the virus from spreading throughout her body. She seems to play the nurse role of the survivors. Back to Blaze, she seems to be holding up good and is super low on thirst, but at least is super determined, stress-free, and has a couple Master Emerald shards. She's now trying to go into the Earth's core to find Gaia Colossus. Somewhere in the world, Chip is weak from trying to save everyone he can, looking more and more tired. You would think that he would try to be going to stop Gaia right away, but most likely, no one knows where Chip is, which is why Blaze is down in the Earth's core to see what he's doing and his whereabouts. Also, Eggman has been doing good. He's been doing a lot of research on the creatures, of course, and is the only one researching the creatures' stats and abilities. 11 weeks have passed since Gaia's emergence, and Sonic has found Amy's hammer, but also he's still at almost 100 stress, and his blood type is added in, which is kinda crossed out and scribbled out. And if you look at his arms, you can see that he has greenish veins. This most likely could be the power coming from Chip's bracelet, cleaning or also contaminating his blood. Tails is doing okay, but is kinda very stressed out and wants to leave the lab for some reason, saying, "Sonic, stop treating me like a toddler." Most importantly, he has the Master Emerald shards and needs 2 more Chaos Emeralds, so hopefully he doesn't sneak out and lose
please
all
don't,
this
'cause if
legendary
he was
loot
on the
that he
roof,
has
we're
in his
dead.
inventory. Chip sadly isn't doing too good at all, and is on the brink of death with 0 strength, 100% stress, and super low health. It's also revealed that he's been alone, with no Sonic or anyone around him for help. He can't be infected, but maybe with no strength, the fight back against the infection might not go in his favor anymore. Silver fortunately is doing great and might have a new scar, but he's still immune and is in high hopes, reassuring everyone that they are all in this and they can do it. He's even gotten stronger, so it seems that Blaze and Silver and somewhat Shadow have been carrying the most. Blaze has finally entered the Earth's core, but is stopped by something in sight. Something unknown, which we can't see. Yet at least. From speculation, I would think that it would be Dark Gaia because she's in the Earth's core now, or a fully infected or mutated Infinite. If you haven't noticed, we haven't seen Infinite since his stage 2 infection. It's been a while, and he's been pretty active in stopping some of the heroes on their mission, being Dark Gaia's best puppet. And sadly, that brings us to SBO being deceased and finally dead. Sadly, Infinite is the reason why SBO couldn't make it But good thing
Dang,
is, he
isn't it?
did end up managing to take out and destroy the monster who attacked him and Vector. Unfortunately, Charmy somehow knows that he is the only member of the Chaotix somehow alive. And Vanilla or Cream are still doing fine, with Cheese reuniting with Cream as well. Now Big the Cat is revealed to be missing, which is another being that Blaze could have been seeing down there in the Earth's core as infected. But hopefully he's alive, as Jet and his crew have been constantly trying to find survivors as a rescue team. Also, compared to everyone else, Wave seems to be the only one that suffered the most injuries, and was infected but amputated her arm to stop the infection from spreading. Shadow is seemingly very stressed still, and is taking the chance to try and cure Rouge after taking her blood and saying, "I'm going to change you back." It's possible he could be trying to use her blood to go to the space colony arc or Eggman's laboratory, and using her blood try to replicate the same kinda immortality Professor Gerald Robotnik did for him. Hopefully that doesn't backfire, as it was an already infected Rouge. Eggman, on the other hand, is still doing research on the nightmares, and in the meantime had actually upgraded Metal Sonic and gave him mobility. And in the end, we're presented with Chips speaking to us. "Your work means nothing. You will not win. Sonic, you don't understand. You will not win.
Chip,
I'm the light forever burning."
Chip.
I would interpret
Like
this
Gaia.
as not
Chip.
so good. When something or someone says, "the light forever burning," to me it means it's one of those cosmic overturns where a twisted version of something claiming to be good or pure is actually a threat or false savior or godlike being. This could be Chip, but completely insane and not himself. This could very much make sense because he has very much no strength left, causing him to be very weak mentally and not being able to fight back from Dark Gaia's influence. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, and make sure to subscribe as well so you're here.
Oh yeah, y'all, make sure you like and sub. See ya.